Well, hello and welcome back. So glad that you're here today. I am a little bit nervous for this episode. I want to first give a disclaimer. I have some congestion going on because the allergies are real for me this summer. I don't know what it is other than it says that the dust and I forget what it was, allergen is high right now, and it's definitely that for me. So sorry that I sound a little bit funky, but I wanted to get this episode out there. It is one, like I said, I am feeling pretty nervous for because it's a little bit vulnerable, but I feel like it's needed because so many of us are out there probably going through a lot of the same things that I've been going through lately, and I don't think a lot of us talk about it enough. And so I have always made it a goal to show up on social media and be transparent and share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I have been struggling. It's not a secret. I took a bit of a social media break recently. I took actually a break from YouTubing and podcasting and social media, everything all together. I was like, I'm doing school and work at the church, and that is all that I'm going to focus on for the next few weeks. My original goal was, or plan was to do it for the whole month of July, but as I started the fast, I wouldn't even call it fast, as I started to not be on those things, I realized how much that wasn't what the problem was. The problem was actually in my mindset and in the things that I was allowing to bother me and to take over in my life. And so I still kept the social media and everything off for 2 weeks. I let my mind get right. I finished out another semester of school, which helped. And I have been back now for a few days, and I'm back into recording podcasts, recording episodes, getting back onto social media, sharing here and there, just kind of with a different mindset this time too. Not putting so much pressure on myself, but I also, in that time that I was away, had so many ideas and so much creation come back. So I feel like I want to just implement all of it, and I know that that will just lead to burnout again. So I can't do that. But anyways, the the point of this episode, I'm going to be talking today about, and as you've seen by the title, I almost quit homeschooling. So rewind about 3 weeks ago before I took my break. I was feeling very discouraged and overwhelmed and honestly just tired as a Christian, as a mom, not really as a wife. He's not super high maintenance, so that wasn't too hard. As a business owner, as a church employee, as a friend, as a small group leader, as a ministry leader, all of the things just felt like they were starting to take a toll on me. And I just wanted to drop everything and I wanted to just let go of it all. But I knew that wasn't possible. So I started to question, well, what can I let go of that would make things easier, that would make me feel better? And the very first thought that I had was homeschool. And I will be honest, I entertained the idea for quite a while. The boys, we've been on summer break for about a month and a half now, and it's been a great summer. We've had a lot of fun memories, but the boys are also at each other's throats and they're having hard days. And I have been struggling with self control, I guess you would call it, with just lashing out when they start to get on, like, I'm already stressed, and so then I take out that stress on them when they bicker and argue. It just feels like a bigger thing for me when really it's not them, it's me and all the things I have going on. So I was just feeling very frustrated with my kids, to be completely transparent, and I hate even saying it out loud, but that's the reality of it. I was frustrated with our kids. I feel like I was telling myself, and I know these are lies from the enemy, but they would be better off if they went to school because they would get to be separated from each other. They would get to be away from me so that they would miss me and I would miss them, and it would just be easier if I signed them up for this coming school year to just go to school, because we would just have some time apart and that would help us to cherish the time that we had together, because it didn't feel like we were cherishing the time that we had together, that we were constantly fighting. And it was hard to feel that. I remember the first couple days I really started to feel it. And this is something, I've gone through bits and pieces of this over time. Like, homeschool is not an easy life. It is 24/7 in the thick of it with your kids. And there's so many amazing things that come out of that, but there's also hard days because we're all human and we all struggle and we all sin and we all fall short of the glory of God. And so there's been days where I've struggled, but I have never been that close to quitting. And I knew that as I started to have those thoughts, I needed to stop and I needed to pray and I needed to focus on what God was calling me to do. And I told myself, if He says to send him back to school, then I'll send him back to school. And if He says not to, then I'm not going to. But I need to let go of everything so that I can focus on what God is asking me to do. And so that was where the social media break kind of came in, the break from work, the break from all the things that I committed to. I just needed God to show me what I need to stay committed to and what I need to not stay committed to, because I can't do it all. We all can't be everybody for everybody. And I was feeling like I needed to be for that. I'm a people pleaser and I'm an overachiever and I tend to be a workaholic and I want to do well at everything, but something I've always known is you can't do great things with all the things. Like, you can only do great when you have like your focus in a few areas, if not less than that. And my focus has definitely been in all the areas instead of just a few. So I did research what it would be like to put the kids back in school. We hadn't ordered curriculum yet. We were, just kind of in the summer having fun, and well, not as much fun because I guess I just said we had all these struggles, but we were having fun. So I started researching how to get them back into school, and I kept praying about it, and I was just in research mode so that I had a plan if God did give me the peace about sending them back to school, which I never got, by the way. Shocker. But I called the school board and I asked them what the process would be to get them re-registered. And the one thing that really told me that I was not supposed to send them back was when I talked to the lady at the school board, and she said James would have to repeat kindergarten because he technically misses the age cutoff for first grade by 20 days here in Georgia. His birthday's September 20th, and September 1st is the cutoff where you'd have to be 6 by then to go to first grade. So he would have to repeat kindergarten. And I hung up the phone with her, and in my head at that moment, I was like, well, there's no way I'm doing that to him because he just crushed kindergarten. I'm not going to make him repeat it. And then I had some more bad moments with them. And so I told James, I said, I think maybe we're going to send you to school. How would you feel about going to school and doing kindergarten again? And he broke down in tears and started crying. And it was it was one of those moments where it was just complete clarity, where I was like, this is absolutely not what we're doing. I'm not going to destroy his confidence. He loves what we've been doing at home. Yes, we have our bad days, but we've done so well. He has grown so much over this last year. I talked to Brian. I asked him how he would feel about going to public school. He also hated the idea. He thought that maybe going and having like lunch with his friends would be cool, but that was about it. And Luke is too young to really care about any of those things, but they just were not in for it. And that was kind of the confirmation I needed, because I felt like they didn't want to be here. So I felt like they maybe would have wanted to go to school and they didn't. And that also helped to encourage me. And so the point of me sharing all of this is, one, obviously, as I say this out loud, you can see how the enemy was just working in so many ways in my own mindset, in my home, in all of the things I was doing. Like, he was just piling it all on so that I would just get overwhelmed and bombarded and stressed out and that I would quit. The one thing that I feel is the most fruitful in all that I'm doing, the most important thing that I do of all of the titles that I have, homeschooling my children, is the most important thing that I do. And I almost gave it up because I let the enemy in. I wasn't praying about homeschool outside of praying for him to let me quit it. I wasn't looking forward to the school year and reminding myself of all the great moments that we have. I wasn't focusing on the good moments that I have been having over the summer with our kids. I was focusing on the bad moments. I wasn't dreaming of what homeschool is gonna do for our kids in the future anymore. I wasn't reminding myself why we decided to homeschool, which is going to be a coming episode in the next few weeks. I just let it all go, and I just let life take over. And I have so many things that I'm committed to, And the one thing that I'm committed to with my kids is homeschool. And I have 1,800 other commitments, but one of them is for my kids. And I almost gave it up for all of the other things of this world. And it just breaks my heart how close I was. I'm so grateful for God to remind me that, like, why I started this and that I am doing a good job and that my kids are thriving and that we can do this. And I'm just grateful that I didn't give up, but I know that there's other women, there's other moms out there who are either struggling with the confidence to start homeschool because you're afraid you're going to get to this point, or two, you're feeling like you want to give up because it would be easier if you just put your kids back in school and you had the house to yourself all day and you could do all the things you needed to do. So when they would come home, you would be a better mom. That was my biggest thing. They would have all their stuff done. I would have all my stuff done. We could just be a family at night. And that was not true because we already lived that life and it wasn't how it was. And so I want to encourage the moms out there who are struggling with this decision to really ask yourself if you're letting the enemy in more than you need to be. I mean, you shouldn't let him in at all, but are you letting the enemy in? Are you letting him defeat you? Are you letting him implant those lies in your mind? Because we all know that God created each and every one of us to be the mama to our babies, to our specific children. God created them for us and us for them. And the best thing we can do for them is to be with them and to love them and to nourish them and to discipline them and to grow with them and to help them to grow and to point them to Him. And I'm not saying you can't do that if your kids are in public school. That homeschooling is different for each family. Like, it's not a calling for everybody, and I understand that and I respect that. I have many friends who are not homeschooling their children, and they are amazing parents. I was giving up for my own fleshly, worldly desires, not because God was telling me to. And I want to encourage the moms out there that want to give up or that want to homeschool or feel God telling them to homeschool that aren't choosing to homeschool because they feel like they wouldn't do a good job or it would be too hard. I want you to know that you are equipped to do it. And the enemy has no place in your homeschool, has no place in your home, in your thoughts, in your parenting, in any aspect of your life. You have to choose to kick him out, though. You get to choose if he's going to stay in your head, lying to you about all these things, or if you're going to say, you know what, you are not welcome here, you are gone. I'm going to follow the calling that God has on my life for myself and my children and my family, and you're not welcome here. And when you do that, you get overwhelmed with a sense of peace. You start to remind yourself again of the joy that comes in walking in obedience with God. And then you get to experience the blessings that come from walking in obedience to God and the fruit that comes from the hard work that you put into that walk it's priceless. And the enemy hates it. And he doesn't want us to experience it. He doesn't want our kids to experience it. So he'll do everything he can, whether that be stopping you or putting everything on you so that you just get overwhelmed. Whatever he can do to stop you, he will. So if you're not running head to head with the devil, you might be running in the same direction. That's a quote that my husband heard one time on a podcast or something that has just stuck with both of us for so long. If you're not going head to head with the devil, you're probably going in the same direction as him. And if he isn't standing in front of you trying to stop you from doing something, he's going to get behind you and push you faster and harder so that you burn out. So I hope this encourages you. I hope that you will seek God in prayer and that you will seek his guidance and not the guidance of me or your friends or the world. But you want to seek a godly counsel, but go to God first. What would God have you do? Sit down with him and ask him what he has for you, what he has for your family, whether that be a decision about homeschool or anything else in your life. Ask God. He'll show you. He'll give you a peace about it. And then you'll know what decision to make. And you'll have excitement and joy and fulfillment again in those things. So with that being said, we are preparing for another homeschool year. I have lots of homeschool content planned for the next couple weeks as we get ready for homeschool. This is something that you guys request from me often. So I'll be sharing a lot more homeschool content. how we're preparing for the school year, what curriculum we're using, those kinds of things. So make sure that you stay tuned, you come back. And if you have any questions, or if this helped you in some way, if it related to you, or you want to talk about it, you can drop a comment or send me an email or a message or whatever. I'm always here to chat and support you, but just know that I'm praying that this video will reach the right person, and I hope that it's been a blessing to you. And I love you, and I appreciate you being here and listening to me talk or rant and share my life. Never saw this being reality for me, but it's really cool to get to share these things with other women and encourage you. So thank you for letting me speak into your life. I don't take it for granted. And I do appreciate you looking to me for help. So I hope that I can offer that to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you next time.